What's going on, fellow A+ers? It's your boy Adam Perez back once again with a brand new video for you guys today as we're going to get into the Rings of Power Season 2, Episode number 6, the penultimate episode before the finale. And let me just say, I think this is like a growing trend in the Rings of Power because you know how there's a penultimate episode before the finale, right? Like that build up. I honestly feel, especially going and looking back at Season 1, that the Rings of Power almost has like a three-part season finale sort of event. Like this felt like a great build up in what I'm personally hoping is going to be out to turn out to be like a two episode sort of level war, you know what I'm saying, to go ahead and close out this particular season. At least that's what I'm certainly hoping for. And so I kind of look at this as a penultimate episode based off of how they've really set everything up for us going into the last two episodes of the season, right? I think it's 8 episodes. God, I hope it's not seven, but I do believe it's 8 episodes. And it kind of felt that same way for episode one, for season one, also. The idea of them really creating Mordor from sort of the Southlands and seeing the huge explosion, and that wind up leading into what I thought was a really great sort of two-part finale as well. So I hope that this is a growing trend because one of the things that I walked away from, and look, this is no disrespect by any means to House of the Dragon. I know a lot of people were upset that they didn't get sort of the climax to season two that they certainly wanted to, as they're kind of building that anticipation to season three, and maybe it definitely pays off. But I walked away from this episode thinking to myself, we're actually getting a war in this series. A battle is about to certainly go down here. And I'm excited to see just the mayhem and just based off of how you can clearly tell the budget for this show is put into every ounce of detail and cinematic feel. This is going to be like a two-part epic sort of big scale event that we haven't really seen on TV before. And so well, I can't say we see some crazy shit in Game of Thrones, mind you, but you know, and just up to par with what Lord of the Rings action should certainly look like. And so that's my anticipation for the last two episodes, and we'll see what happens. We got ourselves a lot of running storylines, so we'll certainly see how it kind of all comes together. But man, episode number 6 did not disappoint, as we actually had quite a few stories kind of going on at once here. I am kind of curious how you guys continue to feel about it. I think because of the fact that these episodes never rob us of content, and I mean the fact that we get plus hour shows. I mean, look, okay, maybe there's like 4 minutes of credits. They use that time brilliantly in like 59 minute episodes, maybe over an hour for sure. You're getting your content's worth. And I think I think at times they do a good job of editing and pacing the episodes well. For me personally, I know some people might feel the show's a little bit too slow, but that's kind of how I from what I have read of Tolkien, there are times when it kind of feels like that, but when it picks up, it certainly picks up. And so the pacing feels right to me. But we had the Anatar and Celebrimbor storyline, Adar and Galadriel in here, Numenor that focused on Elendil and the Queen, and then really the King Durin stuff. Oh, we had storylines going. The Stranger and Tom Bombadil also. So they actually had quite a few interlacing stories, even though I think the Adar and Galadriel were sort of um I think they might have only had what, like 3 scenes together in this entire episode, but I think they spaced them out really well, beginning, dead middle, and the end, and they really filled in the rest of that with the other stories. So to me, it definitely worked in this episode for me, for sure. I'm really hyped to see what they great cinematography. I saw some of the behind the scenes of how they did one of the shots of Sauron when he's outside, or Anatar, I should say, when he's outside after just speaking with Celebrimbor, with his Mirage upright using his magic to fool Celebrimbor. I saw a behind the scenes clip of how literally in the studio as they're filming, it is a shot that's in they've got the lights on, and then as the camera pans, they literally like shift the lighting in the entire studio to sort of create that effect. And it was really brilliant to watch. And so it just goes to show you the lens that this show really does go through to really bring these moments to life, because I think we had a lot of great moments in this week's episode for sure. So let's go ahead and dive in, man, because if we got five storylines we got to talk about, we should get going. Let's go. Um, let's talk about really Anatar along with you know what? No, I'm gonna do Adar and Galadriel first, because that is definitely, it feels very much like one of the main storylines here, in the sense of how we began this episode, the middle, and ended it. There's a way that they talk about Sauron that just really showcases like the seduction of what his power is like. And there are moments in here when Adar is talking about sort of the manipulation, right? He says it makes you believe his power has become yours, makes you desires fulfillment seems inevitable, makes every desire fulfillment seems inevitable. And as he's talking, the actress that plays Galadriel just does this great performance of almost like coming across like I don't say like a fluttering of the heart, like she feels something sort of immediately, but you can definitely tell she remembers, right, that he's there, like she could still remember him close, and there is sort of a seduction aspect to it. And the fact that she kind of showcases it as he's talking about it, I thought was handled sort of really well in here, just to go ahead and get the point across as to what he's capable of doing, in the sense of weaving people's minds to do things that they themselves believe they're making that decision, when in reality it's sort of Sauron's influence as well. I love the idea too that Adar asks Galadriel, what did he promise you? And she says, an army. And he says, do you want to know what he promised me? And she says, not really, not really. But he tells her anyway, and he says, children. And they technically have exactly what they both wanted, right? Galadriel got her army. It's not quite the army that she was wanting, but she's got the orcs right there. If she wanted to stand side by side with Adar and head on and kill Sauron, as she certainly tried to plan and here with him, right? She's got her army right there if she wanted it. And the fact that Adar, I'm sure it's also, kids of his own, clearly, but the idea of children, I would assume, would be an army behind him also, right? So they technically both got what they asked for. The problem now, though, is it's exactly how Sauron wanted it. And I think that's just absolutely amazing. I love the way that they're sort of weaving that story together, again, with great cinematography. The idea of bringing the crown out to, that crown is just a badass, to be honest with you. Placing the crown down, even seeing sort of like Galadriel pull away from it, almost like she was in danger, you know what I mean? Just in awe of the presence that, oh my goodness, this darkness is here, sort of thing, right? Very, very dangerous. And so I just really love the performances in here, quite frankly. And it's probably my couple of favorite scenes that we have in the entire show here in this week. Like, if there was any favorite storyline of mine, it definitely is that. Adar winds up learning about, or confirming, that Halbrand is Sauron. So I would assume, if anything, before he even let Halbrand leave, because he had him in front of him, he had him captured, right? And I believe it's Halbrand that winds up giving him, like, march your army there. I'm gonna go ahead and get Sauron over there, the Arendir, and you not Arendir, excuse me. You get your men back over there, and Aragion, and I'll go ahead and meet you there with Sauron. You bring your army, bro. And so I had to think that Adar at some point in time recognized or realized that something was off here. And so it seems as though that was clearly his suspicion, and he just kind of confirmed that with her, along with Galadriel just giving up sort of more information, man. Just more information. I like Galadriel. I really do. I like her intentions, but I do also see the inexperience. You know, I love the fact that she's a flawed character in that right. She believes that she's doing what she, I have every intention that she's trying to do the right thing. But you can clearly tell that he's still in her head and he's still maneuvering things for her. And I like the idea that she's still being sort of taken advantage of a little bit here, but also trying to help at the same time. So great stuff, man. Great stuff, to be quite frank with you. Yeah, just falling right into Sauron's plans, man. I mean, my man Anatar this week was literally like this. He was like victorious. This is all going according to plan. He had a time to celebrate. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. But yeah, and look, I really enjoy these storylines. Do I know if they're exactly as how Tolkien might have written it in his appendices and his other books? I don't know that, but I do know how they're weaving those concepts, maybe taking some creative liberties here and there. I certainly don't know, but they're taking concepts from Tolkien and making a very compelling story for me, man. And I'm having a really good time with this show so far. Then we should talk about Anatar, since Homeboy has just been putting on an A+ performance here. First, can I just say, he's been hitting on this girl Mirandia for like a couple episodes now. I think he like touched her hair like in a really creepy manner in the previous episode, if I'm not mistaken. But he's trying to put his smooth moves on her, man. The fact that Celebrimbor doesn't remember her name. I love the fact that when she confides in Anatar, her being upset at the idea, like, how can he not remember my name? I love the fact that Anatar takes a moment to say her name, to be like, girl, I'll never forget your name, okay? Like, it's just a smooth move that Anatar puts on her. And then the all holding the hand and thing, and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So he's definitely putting the moves on her, to certainly say the least. But the war's coming to him now. He's got a very limited time period to get these 9 rings forged, while there's like a war about to take place on your front doorstep. And I would assume that that's probably why he's pressuring Celebrimbor as much as he certainly is to go ahead and certainly get this done, because it needs to get done. When you got war on your doorstep, you can only keep Celebrimbor in that mindset for so long. Like, what's he gonna do when the place starts shaking? You know what I mean? So I am kind of curious as to if that's exactly why he's really pressuring him so much. But look, Celebrimbor has his moments of like clarity, but the fact that Anatar is just around, he gets like no opportunity to breathe. Like, just when he's trying to get out, the man literally just sucks him back in. Like, this guy clearly does not want to do this, and he just keeps finding those buttons to push for Celebrimbor. I mean, giving him like this magic looking hammer and stuff, I mean, just presenting him with gifts and whatnot. I mean, he is the Lord of Gifts, I guess. And he winds up managing to get Celebrimbor back to work. And I love the mirage that he puts on him. Like, it's Sauron really showing off his powers and just how powerful he certainly is, right? It's not just like a strength thing. I mean, the guy, like, just abilities, magic, power. I mean, this guy's OP for sure to be able to do something like that. So incredible stuff, and how they really presented it in such a cinematic fashion. And look, I love the dialogue. The dialogue is moving to me, telling Celebrimbor just the importance of the 9 rings, trying to do something like that would be recognized for years to come, and centuries, right? To be sort of the new standard bearer, if you will, in regards to smithing and whatnot, right? Like, really trying to showcase Celebrimbor's impact on history, to really feed into sort of that ego a little bit and that hubris of his, and really go ahead and push him back to work a little bit. And it's crazy to kind of see it unfold. And I tell you, man, Anatar gets me every single time with that little smirk when he knows he's gotten away with something. You know what I mean? He just pulls it out perfectly. I'm like, this son of a Like, man, this is all going according to plan. He's getting everything that he wants. And let's go ahead and get into the Numenor stuff just a little bit also. I think Elendil is starting to become like one of my favorite characters, to be quite frank with you. They are getting ready to send Elendil to his death. I don't know why. Um, he didn't kill nobody, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. But they're trying to send him to death, even though Elendil, I believe, admits to guilt in some way, just to appease some people. But he wouldn't give up his loyalty to the Queen Miriel, like whatsoever. And so, because of the fact that he won't give up his loyalty to the king is now having him killed. And to be honest with you, I really love Elendil's sort of loyalty, right? Despite the pleading from his daughter, who, to be quite frank with you, I was done with like a long time ago, right? Like, I got no sympathy for you, girl. So when like Elendil tells us, like, look, if you still don't understand what it is that I'm talking about, we probably shouldn't even be talking anymore. And I know that that's his daughter, and that's harsh to say, but she's really like the big domino effect that kind of started this waterfall a little bit here. So I really felt the same way that Elendil certainly did. And I love the concept of what he said to her, that even when the queen approached him too and was like, please, you gotta not do this. I love the fact that Elendil told her, like, I know what's right in my head. Like, I can't lie knowing that I know the truth about what it is, and the fact that he stands on his principles like that, I really appreciate it, man. I really did. And so I kind of really enjoy Elendil, certainly as a character. He's really continuing to grow on me, especially after everything that this man has kind of been through. So I hope he gets the opportunity to meet with Isildur at least one more time. So we'll see what Elendil's story is like. But the fact that the queen stepped up in this episode, I mean, talk about boss move here. The fact that Queen Miriel decides to take the place of Elendil to, what was the name of this creature? The Valor, the sea creature that was set to go ahead and decide his fate. Queen Miriel is taking upon herself to go and test her own personal faith. And after everything that has certainly happened with the death of her father, the promise of going to Middle Earth, and the way things ended, her being blind, her being stripped, like, she also has a test that she's got to kind of overcome. And look, at the end of the day, Elendil passed his test. The fact that he was loyal to the opportunity of dying, I think it was certainly his test. And so Queen Muriel winds up taking this leap of faith as well, and is rewarded for it with, I thought, just visually an extremely stunning moment of the queen underwater, along with that really cool design of a sea creature with the huge tentacles. I mean, that thing could be like a painting, or just like really stripped from the concept art that they designed for season 2 in pre-production. I mean, it looked absolutely stunning. And so I love the fact that they were certainly rewarded in here, and Queen Muriel surviving and telling everybody what we should all know, the fact that Queen Muriel is the true heir to the crown. And so I love the fact that I'm hoping now that this is a resurgence for the people to get behind the queen and really set her right. Like, the idea of, like, give her back her scepter. She's the true ruler. The ocean truly picked her, right? I would be highly disappointed if that is not how things turn out within the next 2 episodes here. At least that's certainly what I would definitely like to see. We'll have to see what happens from this point on. But I really enjoyed what we got from that storyline, to be quite honest. And then it winds up ending with the king looking into the Palantir. I can never pronounce this damn thing. But and seeing what looks to be Mordor along with Sauron as well. And so is he gonna get one of those rings? I would assume that that's who's gonna get this ring, but we'll see what happens here. And last but not least, well, maybe not last, but King Doran stuff I thought was actually pretty good in here as well. I do love the fact that we come to this particular storyline and things are just vastly different. Like, homeboy has got gold around him. I mean, this man has turned into a king. I don't like, is this what they're getting from mining so much, or is this sort of the deals that the other dwarves are just sending in troves of money in order to get the rings for themselves, those other six rings that King Durin certainly has. So I mean, the guy's sitting on a throne with just gold piling up around him. And so I'm really fascinated to kind of see it's just crazy to me to see how, I'm curious how long of a time jump it's been, because he just looks vastly different than what he did in the previous episode. And to the point of where you can tell the prince is really concerned about his father at this point. I love the challenge the gauntlet that he throws down, in the sense of telling his father, this ring is taking you over. And I love his, I love his comeback in the sense of, hold on, what was the line that he says in here? Oh, he says, you don't belong to the ring, or the ring doesn't belong to you, you belong to it. And you could definitely tell that that one definitely hit his father, but clearly not enough to go ahead and pull that ring off, man. But there is something I do look. I'm a sucker for father-son relationships. You know what I'm saying? And I thought Prince Durin in here did a really good job of just showcasing, like, as much as he should be mad at his father, he's just really sad, as to what the situation is. And I love the fact that the prince is able to showcase that sort of level of emotion and attachment that he has to his father, that the man that he once knew and loved, like, is not there anymore. You know what I mean? And that was a really hard realization. But I thought Prince Durin really showcased that really well in here. So I kind of enjoy how that's coming along also. And I just thought it was just an interesting just jab in the face from Anatar to go ahead and pay him that visit, right? And to specifically ask for him. Like, the fact that King Durin calls him down and says, you have a visitor. The fact that Anatar didn't speak to the king directly about it, that he specifically asked to speak to Prince Durin, what a slap in the face, bro. Because he knew he's not on he's on thin ice with Prince Durin, to certainly say the least. But yeah, man. So I thought that was pretty good, to be quite honest with you. And then, yeah, lastly, we have the Tom Bombadil and the stranger stuff. Tom is really kind of helping guide and shape the stranger here, leading him to a sea of sort of dead trees in order to go ahead and pick his wand, or not his wand, his staff, if you will. Yeah. And so the fact that that's how they picked them out, I thought was pretty fascinating. I thought it was pretty interesting. That it's just like, okay, go find your big branch, man, and see how that staff works out for you. But I do like two things out of this. One, this felt very sort of Yoda and Luke Skywalker to me, in the sense of the stranger seeing a vision, knowing that his friends are going to get hurt, and if he doesn't do anything to save them, they could possibly die. And Tom, as Yoda, saying, look, your training is not complete, bro. Okay? Look, some people can die, some people won't. But there's a bigger picture here, you just got to leave that up to, like, you just got to do you, man. And I do love the idea that he's having those same thoughts of, should I leave to go rush off to save my friends and not complete my training like Luke Skywalker does? I'm going to be fascinated to see what his decision is here. But the words that Tom Bombadil uses, he says, many that die deserve life. Some that live deserve death. Who are you to give it to them? And I was like, why does that sound so familiar? And I went back and I found a YouTube clip of Gandalf saying that very same thing. So look, the question for me is the stranger going to turn out to be Gandalf? Is this going to turn out to be somebody else? But maybe at some point in time, Gandalf was trained by Tom Bombadil, and that's where he sort of picked it up from also. There's plenty of reasons why Gandalf could possibly learn that, but I don't know. I've always kind of, after the way season 1 ended, I've kind of been on an impression that this is Gandalf. But I have no idea. I really have no idea. But we'll see. Some quick honorable mentions. Talking real quick about what's going on in the mines. Did Sauron awaken the Balrog? I mean, we kind of already heard noise. I don't believe it's a dragon. Maybe it is a dragon. I don't know. But I'm assuming it's a Balrog, the way that we saw something kind of coming out of the flames. Ancient, evil, old, right? I believe that's how Durin said it. So I'm assuming it's a Balrog. So we'll see if that's what he wind up awakening, and that maybe that's what they go through in the next couple of episodes. That'd be crazy. Also the idea of what did Sauron give Celebrimbor? You know, he's got this whole mirage kind of going on for him. And he gives him this hammer. Was the hammer a mirage, or was that a real hammer? Like, is he going to go back in? It's just going to be his normal hammer, or was that just a mirage and what it was, right? So I'm kind of curious if he couldn't get the mithril from the dwarves. What is he handing Celebrimbor? Is he going to be smithing, thinking that this is mithril the entire time? In reality, he's using maybe a different type of ore, a different type of material that maybe Sauron has kind of created, or whatever the case may be. Like, I have no idea, and that's the kind of impression what I'm maybe under the impression of. So we'll see. I have no idea, but that was one of the questions that I had. And then lastly, Nori and Poppy. Look, Poppy not trying to die a virgin, bro. Like, she found love. She found love. She's out here kissing nobody for sure. Holding hands and stuff. They're getting pretty smitten. And so it does make me curious as to how long have they definitely been, like, how long is the time period that they've been experiencing this with everybody there, especially when it comes to Tom Bombadil and the stranger as well. How long has that process certainly been taking between them? So but yeah, I just found that kind of funny. I have no idea what's going to be with Nori. You know, I think if anything, one, I do love the concept of the stores being the grand sort of the previous, I don't want to say generation, but I guess technically generation of what the Harfoot certainly used to be. And the stores are still waiting for the Harfoots to become what was sort of prophesized for them. And I just find that really interesting. So I'll see how Nori's story winds up ending within the next 2 episodes. But if there is a question that I have, it really comes down to I'm curious if they're going to kill anybody by the end of the season. We even saw, was it Arendir? Who's the elf? Arendir, I believe, is the elf. Find the map, or the photo that was drawn on the map of Aragion. So I'm assuming he's going to get involved, as well as he's trying to keep his promise to the Ents to go ahead and stop the army of orcs that are certainly there. So we'll see how it goes, man. But I think we're leading up to like a couple of really great episodes here for the Rings of Power. But we'll see how the pacing and everything else certainly goes with it. But overall, I'm excited, guys, and I thought this episode was pretty damn good. But look, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions. I want to know yours. Let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below. And until next time, do me a big favor, y'all. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.